G'day legends, we're nearly there, UFC 308. Today we are going to be covering how Magomed Ankalaev has staph infection, and I'm going to give you some background on this new fighter that Dana White just hyped up from the crowd. We actually have some fight footage of him in the cage in Russia that I'm going to show in this video. So, firstly, let's get into the main story, which is Magomed Ankalaev being a very, very dirty boy. At UFC 308 have been given their fight kits and the photos have been released, and what we can see on Magomed's knee, right where he would be training for some wrestling, rubbing a sweaty, hairy kneecap into those filthy training mats that they don't wipe down over there, is a big old pus-filled red mark right on the kneecap, a staph infection. Unhealed staph infection as well. Looks very new and red and flared up. That's going to be needing some antibiotics. And if you don't know what that means, it means that the infection can be so bad on its host. It can be incredibly dangerous, which, it happens to be attached to this human being here, Magomed Ankalaev, that the fighters have to take antibiotics to try and kill the infection. Now, when you take antibiotics and you mix that with a weight cut, it means that the fighter is losing a lot of energy, a lot of their pop, a lot of their power. It's not good for them at all. That's why you see these fighters, let's say, BSD against Dustin Poirier, had one great round and then just completely fell flat. Or how Alexander Rakic, when he fought Yuri Prohaska, had an amazing round but didn't seem to have any power on those shots and then just went and fell flat. These are the effects of a staph infection mixed with a weight cut, mixed with antibiotics. So, if you don't already have Alexander Rakic in one of your parlays, your parlay of, say, Chad Puria and Robert Whittaker and Alexander Rakic, you need to be having that as a parlay. Now, obviously, I'm not a gambling expert. I'm not even an MMA expert. I'm just an MMA fan. But you have to 100% have this bet going. It is going to land. Chad Puria, Robert Whittaker, and Alexander Rakic, UFC 308. That bet is going to land, trust me. I'm all in. I'm all in on my Rakic pick. Look, like I said before, when he was going in against Yuri at UFC 300, we have now learned that he had a staph infection, right? In this fight, he will be going in 100% healthy. Imagine if he had actually been able to put some pop on those shots that he was beating Yuri with, right? Imagine if he didn't slip on the Monster Energy logo back when he was fighting Jan Blachowicz back in the day. Alexander Rakic is one of the best light heavyweights walking the planet. Quite frankly, he might be the uncrowned light heavyweight champion, okay? Alex Pereira knocked Yuri out 3 times in one night. If Alexander Rakic had been healthy, he would have done it 5 times at UFC 300. Every shot would have sent him to sleep, okay? So not only is he an angry Serbian man that has been misdealt treatment by the gods against Jan Blachowicz and Yuri Prohaska, but now he is going in there angry that he didn't get that last win and his opponent is suffering from antibiotics and a staph infection. It's done. Plus, Dana White's finger is on this fight as well, already telling Magomed Ankalaev how the fight needs to go if he wants to go ahead and get a title shot in the future. He says that it has to be a good fight, get in there, do good fight. I'm telling you, mate, the Serb cannot lose this weekend. Lastly, just on this topic of Magomed Ankalaev having a staph infection, these wrestlers, man, they're always catching staph. I mean, we have seen the footage from their training rooms. Their training mats are literally pools of sweat. I do not understand how you do not stop a session every 15 to 20 minutes, wipe those bloody mats down, have antiseptic bottles on all the pillars and all the walls. In any normal Western gym, you have antiseptic bottles everywhere. Take them down and spray them onto the mats. Take showers after every training session. Wear a set of skins, 2XU skins, while you're training. The amount of fighters that seem to be getting staph lately it's insane. It's insane considering how much can be done to prevent it. It's disgusting and it's insane. Honestly, you wrestlers kind of deserve to be insulted. It's not like we're making anything up here. The wrestlers are dirty. They do drive their face into double legs relentlessly. Wrestlers are dirty, crotch-sniffing, boring fighters. That's not an insult. That's just the facts. If you don't want to be called a dirty crotch sniffer, don't be one, man. I know Magomed is usually a stand-up fighter. I get it. I've hyped up Magomed's kickboxing and his taekwondo in the past. Usually, he is an awesome kickboxer. But this clearly came from a lot of wrestling practice. It's right there on the knee. Moving on, next up, a fighter in the crowd at the press conference of UFC 308 asked Dana White for a contract. And I have some videos of his actual fight. I'm going to play it for you guys. When you see the videos, he's the guy in the red gloves. But his name is Dobroshka Nabdohov. Told Dana White that he's 9-0. He's actually 7-0. So we're already starting off with some lies, which is not good. But I get it, mate. Look, honestly, you got to do what you got to do to get food on your table and get yourself a job, all right? Who hasn't fluffed up their resume a bit? But yeah, essentially, he just asked Dana White for an opportunity, and Dana, heard the guy out and then was like, all right, come up here, mate. Pointed somewhere backstage. It was a pretty crazy turn of events, to be honest. The guy clearly didn't have English as his first language, but good on him. You know, he did more than what the Brazilians do, realizing that they're working in a Western company, so it's probably a good idea to learn some English. Well done. You know, if I was an athlete over at one championship, I'd probably learn some Mandarin to help interact with the audience there. So good on him for that. I love that this guy just went and shot his shot. I love it. It needs to be an option in the new UFC game, UFC 6, right? Instead of doing all those sparring sessions in the game that you can't skip through. Because, you know, I buy a fighting game and I want to just sit there in my spare time and do endless sparring sessions instead of just going into a fight. It's scrap all that in the game and just be at the press conference in front of Dana White. Ask him, oi, can I be in the UFC, mate? And Dana White goes, yeah, all right, get in here, mate. That's what we need. I love how Dana was hearing him out and just went, no manager, huh? No manager, huh? 9-0. Omavov as your last name. Yeah, get up here, kid. Get up here. You're in the UFC, kid. And then the security were trying to stop him jumping onto the stage. And Dana had literally just invited him up onto, are you not listening to what is going on here? You can see that Dana grabs him by the shoulder and points two fingers at Hunter Campbell over in the corner. So, you know, contender pay contract, 2-2, 2000, contender pay. If this guy goes on to become an awesome UFC fighter, this story is going to go down as in UFC history, UFC lore forever. You're going to see it on a UFC iceberg video in 2045 of the bloke that became a champion just by asking Dana White if he could have a go. This is why we need Dana White forever. You think a CEO like the PFL CEO's Don Davis, a boardroom appointed CEO, is going to be able to do something like this? The second the corporate boardroom gets involved with the ideas of the business, creativity just absolutely dies. I hope Dana White keeps pumping himself full of steroids and goes on till he's 85 years old like an old senile president. And even furthermore, you know that it was a dead-ass press conference when the highlight of it is someone that isn't even in the UFC yet. I swear to God, if Max Holloway says, we're going to find out on Saturday night, one more time, do you know what he's going to find out? He's going to find out how quickly a shit in a can of Pringles travels in the mail, mate. I'm sick of hearing him say that. Just, can we get another sentence, please, man? So apparently this kid that jumped in on the stage, Dana White was like, get up here, mate. Apparently this kid, he is going to be on the next Dana White looking for a fight. That is where we seem to be going. And if Dana is impressed with him on Dana White looking for a fight, then he'll get a UFC contract the same way that Merab was signed up. Unfortunately, this guy does seem to be fighting with the Merab style. So maybe we don't need more of that. You know, if he is chucked straight into the UFC, it'll be very odd. You know, he's just some kid from the regional scene. Get him straight in the UFC. No need for 6 months of USADA testing. What is he, Conor McGregor, our biggest star that we need to get back in as soon as possible? Get him in there, mate. Don't even bother with the 6 months of testing. It's very, very odd what happened with Conor McGregor and the UFC and USADA. There are holes in this story. Either way, that is it. That is the news of the last 24 hours. Magomed Ankalaev has Staph, and the highlight of the press conference was someone that isn't even in the bloody UFC. God help us all when it comes to these press conferences. That is it for today. That is it for the week. That is the last video for the week, but I will be live for the main card for the pay-per-view portion of UFC 308. So if you want to come and watch me just celebrate like a madman when Alexander Rakic sleeps Magomed Ankalaev, come in and say hi. There will be a live stream this afternoon as well in about 8 hours time from when this video is posted. But until then, you guys have yourselves a great weekend. Enjoy UFC 308, and I will see you all in the next video.